And they're getting roasted at TPUSA events.
Yes.
I mean, here's a really good exchange.
Mr. Trump, Ms. Trump, I'd like to ask about...
This guy's so much more real than Alexis Wilkins. Mr. Trump, I just came down from the old lumber yard and I want to talk to you about a little place called Apartheid Israel and a battle campaign against the Palestinian people using Gaza as a laboratory for the neo-colonial capitalist necro-economy. Now, here we go.
Your father's relationship with Israel. He's taken over $230 million from pro-Israel groups. During the summer against Iran, even though he advised against it, Israel still attacked Iran and the U.S. still bombed on behalf of Israel. Your father's frustrations with Netanyahu have been made clear when he cursed on national TV over the situation. Israel has not been a great ally to the U.S. all the way since 1960 when they bombed the USS Liberty. Israel is a nation where Christians are constantly under attack in both Gaza and the West Bank. We talk about America first and defending Christians, but how can we do this if we align ourselves with a nation that does not do that itself?
There's Eric Trump, who's in charge of Trump crypto. They brought in $1 billion in bribes without us knowing who's doing the bribery. And he's about to have to answer this question. We never hear journalists ask anyone in the Trump family these questions, including Trump. They never ask these questions. And these are the questions that everybody wants to ask. So, and that guy was incredible. The way he delivered it so calmly and concisely. Yeah. This is what needs to be done. Like, this is what young people should be doing across America on the left and on the right. This is like the most you can do.
There's no question my father's had frustration. In fact, I think he said frustration throughout the whole conflict with both sides.
With both sides. Okay. Well, and then the thing is, but sorry to cut in, but J.D. Vance was confronted about this, Glenn Beck. Whenever these Trump world figures are confronted at these TPUSA events, they never defend Israel in an aggressive way. They're always very defensive about Trump, but they never will defend the special relationship with Israel or say Israel didn't commit ethnic cleansing. How dare you say that? And Israel's an ally. It's so clear that none of them are actually enthusiastic about Israel.
Yeah. One thing I have been thinking about a lot lately is like, a lot of people are talking about, okay, why is the right wing sort of ascendant on the question of Israel? And, I think one of the reasons is that in some ways, I think the right has sort of highlighted this aspect that the left has kind of usually like veered away from, like about the nature of the U.S.-Israel relationship. Like usually, the left will put forward the aircraft carrier thesis, which is like the idea that Israel is a vassal state of the United States and that America is making Israel do what it's doing to further the interests of American imperialism and in the region. And, I think a lot of things could be said about that. Like, I think that was true maybe a few decades ago, a little more, but the dynamic has clearly shifted. And, America, I will also say, has many bases in the region, like outside. I mean, it doesn't have bases in Israel. It has bases in Syria and Jordan and, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Egypt. It has a huge presence in the Middle East. But, I think like the conservative movement has really succeeded in pointing out something that is like very like that is plain for everyone to see. And, I think the left has sort of not talked about this because they're, afraid of like perpetuating anti-Semitic tropes or whatever. But I think the conservatives have pointed out what you're talking about, Max, which is like, you see some of these senators or, members of Congress, they get confronted. Someone comes up to them with a phone and is like, excuse me, sir, like, why do you think it's okay for Israel to be blowing up hospitals and schools? And then the dude just flies in a rage and is like, are you Hamas? Did Hamas send you? And it's like, it's such like a lunatic, like crazy response that I think anyone, even if you know nothing about Palestine, knows, okay, this person is like really not like, there's something else going on here. Like, this person doesn't just like, he's not like an ardent, like, ideological believer of the state of Israel. There's also this aspect of like, you're doing mental gymnastics to like, because there are some ulterior motives here. And it's, you know, obviously these people are being paid and their political careers rely on supporting Israel. So, you know, I think, I mean, it is so important to expose what I think everyone can see. And now, you know, I think the conservative movement has been doing a good job of naming it. So it has the left. But yeah, that really, I think, is like one of the big developments, I think, is people are starting to like uncover the way politics works in the United States. They're starting to see the actual mechanisms, not just in a theoretical sense, like with sort of theoretical terms, but they see, okay, these people actually, they get this amount of money from this group and this group and these individuals, and that's what makes them respond and babble like idiots on, you know, the news or when they get confronted by journalists. So it is a really unique thing. And I think, yeah, conservatives have sort of been, you know, more forceful in that lately.